2,300 people on a boat built for 376. At 2 a.m. on April 27, 1865, 7 miles north of Memphis, Tennessee, that math becomes a death sentence. The SS Sultana is a 260-foot sidewheel steamboat, built 2 years earlier in Cincinnati. She has 4 coal-fired boilers, 2 tall smokestacks, and a wooden superstructure 3 decks high. On a normal run, she carries cotton bales and paying passengers between St. Louis and New Orleans. Tonight, she carries something else. Former prisoners of war, Union soldiers just released from Confederate camps at Andersonville, Georgia, and Cahaba, Alabama. Men who have survived starvation, dysentery, and exposure. Men who weigh 80 pounds, 90 pounds, 100 if they are lucky. They are packed onto every deck, every staircase, every square foot of available space. They are finally going home. The war is over. Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox 18 days ago. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated 12 days ago. The nation is in chaos. And these soldiers, some of the last prisoners exchanged, are caught in the machinery of a collapsing military bureaucracy and a corrupt transport system. Captain J. Cass Mason commands the Sultana. He is 40 years old, experienced, and under enormous financial pressure. Military contractors are paying $5 per enlisted man and $10 per officer to transport paroled prisoners north. The more men Mason takes, the more money he makes. Army officers in Vicksburg, Mississippi, are taking bribes to steer prisoners to specific boats. Captain George Williams and Colonel Reuben Hatch funnel men to the Sultana, even as other vessels sit nearly empty at the dock. Mason knows his boat has a problem. One of the 4 boilers is leaking. The middle larboard boiler has a bulging seam, thin and weak. In Vicksburg, Chief Engineer Nathan Wintringer finds the defect and warns the captain. A proper repair would take days. It would mean losing the contract, losing the money, watching another steamboat collect those $5 fees. Mason orders a patch. A local boilermaker named R.G. Taylor hammers a thin iron plate over the bulge. It takes a few hours. It is not enough. The Sultana leaves Vicksburg on April 24 with its human cargo. She stops in Helena, Arkansas to take on coal. A photographer captures the only known image of the overloaded vessel. Men cover the decks like a living carpet, crowded against the rails, perched on every surface. The boat lists visibly in the photograph, her guards nearly touching the water. The Mississippi River is at flood stage. Spring rains have pushed it 3 to 4 miles wide in places. The current runs fast and brutal, filled with debris, entire trees, wreckage from the war. The Sultana struggles north against this flow. Her overtaxed boilers work harder than they were ever designed to work. The patched seam holds, for now. By 1 a.m. on April 27th, most of the soldiers are asleep. They lie on the decks, in the holds, on the stairs. Some have made beds on top of the boilers for warmth. The boat passes Memphis and continues north. The city is dark behind them. At approximately 2 a.m., 7 miles above Memphis, near a cluster of islands called the Hen and Chickens, the middle boilers explode. 3 of the 4 boilers detonate almost simultaneously. The blast tears through the center of the boat. It collapses the pilot house. It shatters the twin smokestacks. It sends superheated steam and shrapnel through hundreds of sleeping men. Within seconds, the wooden superstructure catches fire. The men closest to the boilers are killed instantly. Hundreds more are hurled into the river. Hundreds more are trapped in the wreckage as flames spread across what remains of the deck. The water temperature is 51 degrees. The current is ferocious. Most of these men cannot swim. Many are too weak to stay afloat, even if they could. The Sultana burns down to the waterline in 20 minutes. She sinks before dawn. And in the darkness of the flooded Mississippi, survivors cling to debris, to dead horses, to each other, waiting for a rescue that comes slowly, too slowly for most. At 2 in the morning on April 27, 1865, the river is glass. The Sultana pushes north through the darkness 7 miles above Memphis. 2,300 men are packed onto a boat built for 376. Most are asleep. Some stand at the rails, watching the Mississippi slide past. They are hours from home. Then the boilers explode. The center of the boat erupts upward. The blast launches bodies 50 feet into the air. Scalding steam and hot coals shower across the deck in every direction. Men standing directly above the boilers simply vanish. The wooden superstructure catches fire immediately. Within seconds, the Sultana is burning from the inside out. The survivors describe what happens next. Men stagger across the deck, their skin hanging from their bodies. Others crawl on hands and knees, blinded by steam, choking on smoke. The fire spreads faster than anyone can move. It races through the wooden cabins, through the hurricane deck, through every surface soaked in engine grease and coal dust. The boat becomes an inferno on the water. And then the panic begins. Hundreds of men rush to the rails. They cannot swim. Most have spent the last year in Confederate prison camps. They weigh 90 pounds, 100 pounds. They have dysentery, they have scurvy, they have wounds that never healed. They jump anyway. The Mississippi in late April runs at 55 degrees, cold enough to kill a healthy man in under an hour. These men are not healthy. They hit the water and their muscles seize. They gasp from the shock and swallow the river. They grab at anything that floats. They grab at each other. Witnesses on shore describe what they see in the moonlight. Clusters of 20, 30 men clinging together in the water, screaming, then silence. They pull each other under one by one until no one is left at the surface. A man clings to a wooden door and 3 others grab his legs. He drowns with them. A soldier reaches a piece of wreckage and another man climbs on top of him, pushing him beneath the water. This repeats across a mile of river. The Sultana breaks apart as it burns. The bow section drifts one direction, the stern another. Men cling to debris in the darkness, calling out for help that does not come. The nearest boats are miles away. The steamer Bostona II arrives at dawn, then the Arkansas. They pull survivors from the water and from the trees along the flooded riverbank. Some men have drifted 7 miles downstream, clinging to planks and doors and the bodies of horses. The rescue continues for hours. When the count is finished, the numbers are staggering. Army records confirm between 1,168 and 1,192 dead. The actual toll is almost certainly higher, 1,800 or more. Only 786 men survive. The Titanic, 47 years later, will kill 1,517. The Sultana kills more, and America barely notices. Captain Frederick Speed, the officer who ordered the men loaded onto the boat, faces court-martial. He is acquitted. Captain J. Cass Mason, who took the bribe and ignored the warnings, goes down with his ship. His body is never recovered. No one is held accountable. No one ever will be. The investigation concludes, the findings are filed, and then the story disappears. Because 5 days earlier, John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln. The newspapers are filled with the assassination, the manhunt, the funeral train carrying the president's body across the country. The Sultana merits a paragraph, maybe 2. Then nothing. No regulations change. Steamboat safety remains exactly as it was. The same boilers, the same overcrowding, the same inspectors taking bribes. It will be years before anything improves. The men who died on the Sultana are buried in Memphis and Elmwood and scattered cemeteries across the South. For more than a century, there is no memorial. The marker in Marion, Arkansas, is not erected until 1982. The deadliest maritime disaster in American history became a footnote in the same week it happened. It has been one ever since.